Here we go again. Headlines are screaming. Trump's revenge tour, moving Space Command out of Colorado. Hick is out here crying about billions wasted and national security undermined. But if you're paying attention, really paying attention, you'd know this story started long before September 2025. So let's set the record straight. First off, Space Command, Space Force. This is Trump's baby. Created the United States Space Force back in 2019, making it the first new military branch in over 70 years. Why? Because space is the new battlefield. Satellites, cyber, missile defense, you name it, our adversaries are already there. Trump saw the writing on the wall and built an entire force to meet that threat head on. Yeah, Colorado Springs was a natural starting point. Peterson, Shriver, Buckley, NORAD. The infrastructure was already here. I'm from Colorado. I went to school in Colorado, and I know exactly what these bases mean to our communities and our economy. Tens of thousands of jobs, billions in aerospace contracts, and a culture that has space in its DNA. But here's the part the critics leave out. 2021, the Air Force ran its basing study. They evaluated multiple sites, scored them on cost, infrastructure, workforce, schools, long-term sustainability. And guess what? Huntsville, Alabama, Redstone Arsenal came out on top. Not Colorado Springs, not DC, Huntsville. The Government Accountability Office later confirmed it. Huntsville was the most cost-effective and strategically solid option. That was on the books, all under Biden's first year. But then in 2023, Biden steps in. Suddenly, the decision gets overturned and Space Command stays in Colorado. Why? Well, he claims mission readiness. So basically the argument was Colorado Springs is already up and running. Why risk transition headaches during a tense world moment with Russia and China breathing down our necks? Fair enough. In the short term, you don't want hiccups in command and control. I get that. Someone who actually understands readiness. But let's not kid ourselves. This was about politics and money. Because remember, 2023 was the height of the Ukraine war spending spree. Billions upon billions funneled overseas with little accountability. And what better way to keep the money flowing than to wrap it all in under the blanket of mission readiness? Keep the command in place, keep the checks moving, and keep the American public from looking too closely at where it was all really going. Now, fast forward to 2025, the GAO revalidates Huntsville again, confirming long-term savings in the hundreds of millions. So Trump comes back in and restores the original decision. Not a new plan, not some revenge plot. He simply went back to what the Air Force had already put in motion years ago. And here's where the politics come in. Colorado Democrats, Hick included, are suddenly screaming betrayal. Billions down the drain. National security at risk. Give me a break. Where was all this outrage in 2021 when Huntsville first won? Where was the honesty about why Biden blocked it in 23? Selective outrage is the definition of hypocrisy. Let's clear this up. Mission readiness, not impacted. Satellites don't stop flying. Guardians don't stop working. Operations will continue no matter the headquarters zip code. The disruption is short-term, not a collapse. Now, the real impact is economic. Colorado stands to lose hundreds of civilian contractor jobs and around $1 billion in annual economic activity tied to the Space Command. That hurts local families, schools, and small businesses. I know Colorado. I know these communities. And I know the aerospace ecosystem that makes it unique. But let's be honest, Colorado is still the #1 state for aerospace jobs per capita. We have Lockheed Martin, Ball Aerospace, Northrop, ULA. The backbone isn't going anywhere. Space Command may move, but Colorado will still be a space hub. So here's the truth nobody wants to admit. This move is a net positive for the country. Huntsville is already home to NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center, Army missile defense, and a massive defense industry. Co-locating Space Command there means synergy, research, acquisition, and operations all in one place. That's efficient. That's smart planning. So while Colorado loses some economic juice, the nation gains efficiency. And in the long run, that makes Space Command stronger. So why is this happening now? Well, because Trump is fully aware of the real threats: China, Russia, Iran, North Korea. He isn't interested in keeping the blanket pulled over a money laundering operation in the Ukraine. He isn't interested in political games to protect contractors who line the pockets of politicians. He's interested in putting America's defense where it belongs: mission focused, cost efficient, and future ready. Other politicians aren't willing to go there. Trump is. And that's why this move is happening on his watch. So, yeah, as a military man, I get the concerns about readiness. But let's be clear, the mission continues. The real story isn't about revenge. It's about leadership, efficiency, and facing threats head on. Colorado will adapt. Space Force will thrive, and America is stronger when we stop playing politics, stop laundering money, and start focusing on the battlefield of tomorrow. Well, that's today's rant. If you're tired of selective outrage and want the facts, you're in the right place. Hit like, drop your thoughts in the comments, subscribe, because the truth shouldn't have a zip code.